Hey, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a Legacy Death and Taxes League. This list is pretty stock, but I'll go over some of my choices. Flagstones and Mishra's Factory are my two lands that I've chosen, mainly due to Cataclysm being in the board. I do like that Flagstones does give you an extra land with Cataclysm, and Factory is pretty interesting because it is an artifact, creature, or land when activated. So if you Cataclysm with it activated, you can of course keep it as your second creature, your second land, your second artifact if you want to keep like a vial or a piece of equipment on board, which I think is really cool. I haven't seen too much back to basics, so I don't think right now there's really a big reason to play an extra planes over Flagstones. There's also that minor kind of win where your opponent doesn't really understand what Flagstones does, wastelands it, and then you just get a land back straight away. Flagstones does have some downside with Rest in Peace because it's whenever Flagstones is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, so if your opponent wastelands Flagstones when you have a Rest in Peace in play, you won't get that extra basic. The rest of the deck is pretty straightforward. I do think Mirran's pretty nice right now with the amount of rug running around. Prelate I think has just always been a really strong 3-drop for me, and I really like it against some of the combo and mid-range decks. Palace Jail is pretty nice. There's a few decks where they do go wide fairly early, so I might be siding up Palace Jailer a fair amount today, but we'll see how it performs. I think it's a really nice card to have in the main deck as a one-of, especially as a recruited target. The main deck Gideon probably isn't stock, but I do like just having an out to some of the really mid-range decks. Also to things like Plague Engineer, it's nice to have Gideon around. I think it fights Oko okay. It's a little bit rough that our 2/2s kind of get outbeat by their 3/3s, but I think a main deck Gideon is fine. To the board, I have some combo hate that I chose this combo hate because I want to buy time in these matchups where I can then, buy time to land a turn 2 Thalia. I'm not going to lose on turn 0, 1, or 2. To things like Ant or Tez or hopefully even Reanimator. So Deafening Silence, Chalice, and Mindbreak Trap are a nice mix. Chalice, a lot of the time, I'll be happy to play it on 0 against the LED decks, so I won't have to wait till it's on 1. Mindbreak Trap comes in against a few Storm decks. There might be some other ones, maybe some Echoed sort of Blue Prison decks. Trap, a really interesting card. A nice piece of tech because you can keep applying pressure on curve and just hold Trap in hand in case your opponent tries to go off. So Trap should be pretty fun. I've gone with the 2/2 split of Rest in Peace and Faerie Macabre. I did want Graveyard Hate that affects the whole graveyard, but I also wanted some quick Graveyard Hate, and Faerie Macabre's pretty nice. Especially that we can recruiter for it. It plays around Chancellor triggers. There's also a few decks where Faerie is just really good. I think against Loam, it's not too bad to take out a Loam and then try to build out some more pressure through, say, Prelate or Thalia. But yeah, I think that Faerie's pretty cool. It does enough against the decks where I want it that I think it's a little bit better than Surgical right now, but there's probably still an argument there. And then Path to Exile is just a really good extra removal spell. Against a lot of the rug decks, they aren't playing a basic. There's a few running around with a basic island in their deck, but yeah, I think Path is just pretty standard right now. That's pretty much it. We'll take this through a league, and we'll see how we go. Thanks.